Deciphering the Book of Esther in summary. Chapter 1 introduces King Ahasuerus, or Xerxes. The name variation reflects a numerological code indicating the transition from the going project to the returning project. Similar to biblical changes like Abram Abraham or Jacob Israel, linked to linguistic evolution from Phoenician to Aramaic. The king organizes a banquet of 180 days. Number 9. Completion of 666 and birth of 6 million. And then 7 days. Cessation and completion of what is pending. When Queen Vashti refuses to display her beauty, she is deposed. In code, this is not a historical event but indicates a change in the project. In search of a new queen, Hades is chosen, meaning myrtle, fertility, whose name becomes Esther, star. This symbolizes the fertility of the project and the fact that God Satan obtains a change in the perception of reality, superimposing the solar system, star, over the illumination of the life generator. Mordecai, Esther's cousin, thwarts a plot by 2 eunuchs against the king. The eunuchs, representing those who do not produce, i.e. the verbal going project, are executed to advance the project sequence. Number 2. Initial separation. Haman, a descendant of the Amalekites, Amalek corresponds to the numerical value 6. Structure of matter, becomes prime minister. Mordecai refuses to bow down, and Haman, furious, decides to exterminate the Jewish people by casting lots, per. The lots indicate destiny from the afterlife, opening of the portal. Once assigned, they become present in time. This represents the opening of the portal and the preparation of the mental network, signaling that the project comes from pre-existence. Mordecai asks Esther to intercede with the king. Esther replies that anyone who enters uninvited risks death, unless the king extends the golden scepter, a symbol of the power that God Satan must acquire. Mordecai urges her, "Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" indicating conscious death and a change of consciousness. Chapter 5. After fasting, Esther appears before the king and receives the scepter. The king offers her half the kingdom. The half is not material, but indicates the means that Esther, the allies, transmits to those born on their own. Esther invites the king and Haman to a banquet, symbol of the transmitted project. Haman, leaving happy but irritated by Mordecai, prepares a gallows 50 cubits high. The number 50 always indicates the means that becomes a project or vice versa. Chapter 6. That night the king cannot sleep, and has the chronicles read to him, discovering that Mordecai has never been rewarded for saving his life. The next morning he asks Haman, who had come to ask permission to hang Mordecai, how to honor a man the king wishes to distinguish. Haman, thinking of himself, describes royal honors. The king orders it to be done to Mordecai, and Haman returns home humiliated. In code, Haman represents the number 6, which is what the king must take. The desire to kill the Jews symbolizes the attempt to seize the project through lots, which indicate the passage from pre-existence to existence. However, it is not the Jews who must die, but Haman himself to allow the project to change. Whoever kills seizes the project. Mordecai, on the other hand, represents the allies. Chapter 7 narrates the second banquet, a symbol of project transmission. Esther reveals her Jewish identity and accuses Haman. The king, furious, goes out into the garden, symbol of the mental enclosure. Haman is hanged on the gallows prepared for Mordecai. In code, this means that project number 6, Haman, enters the means through the king towards those born on their own. In Chapter 8, the king gives the ring to Esther and Mordecai, symbol of the circle, indicating the completion of the cycle, marking the return of the project to the allies. They transmit verbal communication, going, awaiting mental communication, returning. Since the edict cannot be revoked, a new one is issued for the 13th of Adar. The number 13 indicates the head and the mental project. The edict is spread everywhere, and many are circumcised, a gesture that symbolically represents separation from the life generator and union with God Satan. Chapter 9 begins on the 13th of Adar, the Jews defend themselves and kill their enemies, including Haman's 10 sons. The number 10 indicates the project becoming a means. They do not take the spoils, which symbolically represents the exchange, as the true victory will only come with Jesus Christ. In Susa, they fight on the 14th and 15th of the month. The 14, 5, indicates the means, the 15, 6, indicates the taking, and the 6 million. The 300 fallen, 3 equals means, and the 75,000 dead in the empire, 7 plus 5 equals 12, equals means, confirm the numerical code. The Feast of Purim is celebrated on the 14th and 15th of Adar to commemorate the lots, i.e. the passage of God Satan's degenerative project from pre-existence to existence. During the feast, gifts symbolize the presence of the project, charity separation, and banquets union analogous to that of Jesus Christ. The Book of Esther, in the Greek translation, presents 6 additional sections: prayers, dreams, letters, visions. The number 6 symbolizes the birth of the 6 million, the completion of 666, and the 6 sides of the cube, the structure of matter, thus indicating the manipulation of perception. These additions reveal the return of the project, culminating with Purim, as in the other books. This confirms the repetitive biblical cycle, corresponding to the temporal cycle of the portal's opening, which occurred in the 53rd year, and the forward passage in the 182nd year, marking the completion of the consciousness network and the falsification of the perception of reality.